everybody, and welcome to our Week 9 Prep Football Preview Show. And I'm Bob Strickley, and with me is Cody Leist. And let's recap Week 8 real quick. We're basically just going to talk about Portsmouth because of the bizarre conditions that game finished under. I was there covering it, and everybody looked to their left, and there's a house on fire. But, Coach Clifford said you got to play the way that, the conditions present themselves. Well, those were unique, and Portsmouth came up just a bit short in that one. I haven't ever seen anything like that before, have you?
No, not even close.
Yeah, bizarre. All right, moving on to Week 9. We've got Notre Dame visiting Sims Valley. I'm going to be covering that one. I talked to both coaches today. Rusty Webb for Sims Valley is excited for the challenge. His guys are up for it, and this has big SOC 1 implications in it.
Mm-hmm. Well, with the way that the SOC 1 is right now, there's only 5 teams in that division, so everybody's going to have at least one bye. That means Sims Valley, they get the luck of the draw. Their bye takes place actually next week. Yeah. So if they win against Notre Dame, they get the SOC 1 title outright. Now, if Notre Dame wins, they still have to go to East next week and beat the Tartans for them to have it outright. So it still could be pretty interesting going into Week 9 and Week 10.
Bob Ashley spoke earlier about matching the toughness and physicality of a Sims Valley team that loves to run the ball and feeds off the run for their play-action passing game. So that'll be an interesting game, and I'll be making a long trek out there to cover that one for everybody. Don't think there'll be any Twitter updates out there in the desert of cell reception in Willowwood. All right, moving on to the Valley-Berg game. Valley travels to Wheelersburg, and that's a game that you're going to be covering.
Yeah, and with that, Valley is 2 games away from a perfect season. They win this. Them and Wheelersburg are both the lone unbeatens left in SOC 2. It's going to be very fun to watch this game. Last year, Wheelersburg did hand Valley its first loss of the season. Valley ended up losing its last 2, which was Wheelersburg and Minford. They were knocked out of the playoffs with those 2 losses. But it's going to be interesting to see. Valley brings a very high-powered offense, and Wheelersburg they are maturing very well under a lot of the situations that they've been under this season, only having 1 starter come back. And you know what? It's going to be a fun game out in the Berg tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one, especially with the evolution of the Berg offense. At the start of the year, we thought it was just going to be Shears running the show, and that's it. But there's been co-stars now, and his supporting staff of Hood and O'Brien have really stepped up to provide him some more weapons, along with Eddie Miller. Moving on to the Green East game, we'll be sending Jake to that one. And that's going to be an interesting game just for the fact that East finally got back on a roll, and Green is looking to rebound a little bit.
Yeah, the East is coming off of a very big win up at Grove City Christian last week, a team that is in their region with the Region 23. So that means not only do they get their points off that, they also put them down lower into the regional draw or regional computer points. Green is coming off of a 35-0 loss last week at home to Notre Dame. They're going to be looking to try to lick their wounds and try to get back to playing in this game. Last year, Green did a pretty good job. I was at that game last year over in Franklin Furnace. They did a really good job pounding the ball against a very depleted East team. Now, I think this year the tables are turned as far as injuries and health are concerned, so it'll be fun to see that game.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Green can slow down the rushing attack and the versatile attack of Cody Belleville, is that how you say his name? He accounted for 450 yards in the last week's win over Grove Christian.
Yeah, Grove City Christian.
Grove City Christian. And so let's move on to the last game we're going to talk about, and that's Portsmouth at Logan. And I think you talked to Clifford earlier on the weekend. What do you have to say about this matchup?
He's kind of interested in this one. He's ready to go in and watch how his team is going to respond the last 2 games of the year being on the road this week at Logan. This is the first time they're going to be at Chieftain Stadium since it was rebuilt. The last time they were in Logan, I believe, was 2006. But there's a kid from Logan on the defensive side. I can't remember what his name is, but here's the funny thing how Clifford says how to spell this guy's name. Nightmare. That's how he describes this kid. It's Hassel. I can't remember, but still, this is going to be a fun game to watch. Everybody's healthy again for Portsmouth. And the funny thing, Kurt had told his kids this week was he thinks that when he's watching this team, they look like a 6-2 team, not a 2-6 team. So maybe Portsmouth does have a shot in this game.
Yeah, let's see if they can salvage the season with another win here. Thanks for joining us for our Week 9 preview show, and we'll be bringing you Twitter updates of all the action. Be sure to follow us. Thanks a lot.